Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, February 7th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com over the past week. First, possible Google update earlier this week. Lots and lots of chatter around that. Two, Google Search Console news, GoogleBot news, big Webmaster tools news, some major issues with Google My Business, so lots to discuss today. Stay tuned and I hope you like it. All right, so like I said, there was a potential Google algorithm update this week. It was unconfirmed, but definitely a lot of chatter, a lot of signals. When I reported about it on February 3rd, seems to have started rolling out February 2nd at night. February 3rd and then February 4th also had some major fluctuations according to the various tools and the various signals that I saw in the Google search forums and in Google Webmaster forums and the Black Hat forums. So definitely a lot of signals around that. If you saw ranking changes around there, you're not alone, so just keep that in mind. I posted the monthly Google Webmaster report this week. It pretty much summarizes everything big that has happened over the past month related to Google SEO and Webmaster related stuff. So definitely take a look at this. It was the January core update, the fave icons and the black ad labels, the featured snippet deduplication, and so much more. So definitely take a look at this if you want to catch up and if you were on vacation for the past month or so. It's a great way to catch up. Martin Splitt, who actually has been on vacation for the past couple weeks before this, said that the new GoogleBot Useragent name, which is the dynamic name of the version of Chrome that Google's currently using for that user agent, is fully live. Now, it technically isn't. It's only fully live. Let me just show you the tweets that explain it. And he had to clarify this later. For when GoogleBot does this initial crawl request, this HTTP request, that is using the old user agent name, Chrome 41. If it's doing the rendering, where the web rendering service is rendering the page and loading the HTML and fetching the link resources, all this is done in the new user agent name. And it's not clear, but it seems like Google's not going to go ahead and switch it anytime soon for that initial request. That initial request will still use Chrome 41, so if you still see Chrome 41 in your log files, that is why. Google had to clarify this, and I wrote a post about this later the next day where Google clarified the name usage, and Martin Splitt's like, who cares? Stop looking at your log files specifically around which Chrome version of user is being used, because the user agent doesn't really imply what Google's using to crawl your website. Google is using the latest version of Chrome to crawl your website in both cases. It's just the user agent name has not changed in all cases. So Google had an issue with Google Search Console verification, specifically using Tag Manager. And Google fixed it. They went ahead and did a post. I didn't really see many complaints about this, but they said we had an issue with the Google Tag Manager verification method in Search Console, but it should be resolved by now. You might need to re-verify. Okay, so there was re-verifications, but Google went ahead and did auto-verifications for sites that did not re-verify manually. And when Google did that, it automatically triggered a bunch of new emails going out saying, hey, there's a new owner of your property in Google Search Console, and that caused a lot of confusion. Some people's clients were like, why do you have access to my Search Console? You're not somebody I want to give authorized access to Search Console. And because of that, it caused a lot of confusion because Google re-verified people that actually had verification already, but may not have received notifications about that in the past. Now they receive notifications, and it caused a lot of confusion. Of course, those people who got those emails saying they have new access to Google Search Console already had access because it was there, but they just didn't know they had access. There was lots of complaints earlier over the weekend, last weekend, that Google is having issues with indexing through the Google Search Console request indexing feature. Lots of complaints about that Google's not indexing my site after I use the request indexing feature in the URL inspection tool. And Google said it's not an issue. It's normal. Everything is indexed right away. Everything's not indexed right away. That's normal. And just because you're trying to submit your site through the Google Search Console request indexing feature doesn't mean we will index it right away. But there's lots and lots of complaints about it, at least earlier on the week. Google never confirmed there was a bug around it. And there was also similar issues around big Webmaster tools earlier in the week as well, having a similar issue. But most people don't really care that much about big Webmaster tools. Google is testing a more open design. It might be a bug. I asked Google for confirmation. They did not get back to me, and I'm hoping they will. But I saw numerous people post about this. You can see this screenshot here. Here's a normal view, but look at this. It's all wide open. It looks weird. It actually looks very, very weird to actually look at this. So Google has not confirmed it, but I know Google's doing lots of tests around their search design user interface. Google also this week said that you should definitely use the rel sponsored attribute, which is a new attribute that came out in September of last year, for affiliate links if you can, if possible. Here, John Mueller saying, yeah, definitely use rel sponsored for affiliate links if you can. If not, it's fine. Google will figure it out. Use the nofollow, but for affiliate links, it's probably more appropriate to use rel sponsored. This is a lot of confusion. Gary was on stage. Gary from Google was on stage yesterday at PubCon. And whenever he goes on stage, he sometimes jokes around. The people aren't really sure if he's joking or not. And one thing he said was very interesting was, according to the different tweets out there, Google will use nofollow links if they want to. Again, this is the change that Google made in September of last year. This hasn't happened yet, he said, but they want to start on the project in the future. Now, Google said, according to their blog post, Google, as of prior to September 2019, Google would not follow, would not crawl, would not index, and would not use for ranking nofollow links. Then after September, they said they will not use it for crawling or indexing, but they might use it for ranking purposes as a hint. May or may not use it, but their algorithms do that. Finally, they said in March 1st, Google might also use it as a hint and decide to crawl and index, not just use for rankings. Now, according to this, it seems like Google hasn't done any of that. They reserved the right to do that, but they haven't actually programmed any algorithms or changes to their infrastructure to handle this directly. And I'm not sure if that's true or not, or if it was just miscommunication, because I know Google went on record saying they are doing this now, but I'm not really sure, and I'm trying to get clarification around that as well. John Mueller said that URL length is not a ranking factor. For some reason, this blew up. I wasn't even thinking about covering this. I'm like, you know what? I'll cover it. It's kind of funny. And he basically said, yeah, URL length is not a ranking factor. And then you had a bunch of people saying, well, it is. Google's lying. Again, I'm surprised, but people are definitely talking about that. So here's something I thought was new. People are saying it's not new, but it looks like Google's like pairing knowledge panels together. So if you have two different personalities you're searching for, Google will go ahead and pair those knowledge panels together. So you can see here is a screenshot of somebody searching for Johnny Depp and Tom Petty. And Google has a single knowledge panel over here combining the two. And then if you actually click on it, let me just click on it to show you a cleaner screenshot. You can see over here, the people also search for also is giving you multiple personalities, entities, Tom Petty and Cindy Crawford, Tom Petty and Eric Clapton, Tom Petty and Elvis, to give you more of these things, which is pretty cool and pretty interesting. Related to that, we saw in the knowledge panel to see the connections of other people. So if you do a search like that on mobile, Google was showing this, see the connection between these two personalities. If you click that, it would actually show you the connection, which is similar to this other feature. And again, supposedly Google's been doing this for a while. Bing has some issues specifically with Windows 10 that for several hours, Bing on Windows 10 devices was not working when you do searches on Windows 10 search. They fixed the issue after several hours, so it was kind of some weird outage that Bing had. Big news from Google Maps is that they celebrated their 15th birthday. I believe tomorrow will be the 15th birthday of when Google launched Google Maps. They have a new icon now. This is the new bold icon. They made a bunch of new features as well for the Google Maps iOS and Android app, so definitely download it and take a look at it. It's just amazing. I look back at my post that I wrote when they first launched in 2005, and I'm like, sorry, MapQuest, you're done. And truth is, MapQuest is done, and nobody's really surprised by that. Google My Business sent out warnings the other week that unpublished Google My Business listings will be removed and deleted. So if you got one of those, that's fine. It's usually for listings that you just don't manage anymore, or they're old listings that aren't valid anymore. There's a big Google My Business bug, believe a bug, not sure exactly, around Google Posts. And Google Posts mostly are being rejected in masses by a lot of businesses. You can see here's just some of the threads, but there's literally hundreds of threads with complaints where you see these Google Posts get this little rejected icon on the top right. Some are even saying they're getting rejected, but they're also being displayed. So something seems wrong. I'm not exactly sure. Google has not confirmed any of these issues, but there definitely does seem to be something wrong. And finally, we posted 2 vlogs this week. One was with Jim Boykin, who I sat with for about 20-something minutes and talked about links and SEO community stuff and feature snippets. It was a pretty fun interview to do, so definitely take a look at that. And I also spoke with Jennifer Van Iderstyne, who was working at Over It. We talked about making better content and using multimedia for SEO and so much more. So definitely take a look at that as well. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next week. That was the Search Buzz video recap. Again, today is Friday, February 7th. That's the news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Goodbye.